So Motorola released a series of new smartphones this March. And right here we have the Motorola G73 5G smartphone, which is also the most expensive one out of the bunch. For a price of around 300 euros over here in Germany, you'll get a 50 megapixel main camera, a display with full HD plus resolution, and the MediaTek Dimensity 930 chipset that you will find in no other smartphone. So before we start digging deeper into the specs and features, let's quickly find out what we get inside of this box. So once you open up the box, the first thing you'll see is the Motorola G73 5G smartphone. But something you won't find in many smartphone boxes anymore is the charging brick with a USB Type-C connection. Of course, you also get the fitting charging cable to it with a USB Type-C to USB Type-A and a bunch of paper stuff. And that's all there is, so let's check out some of the specs. So the Motorola G73 already comes in a rubber case, which is a nice thing to have once you get a brand new smartphone. I actually managed to drop mini smartphones just days after getting them, and that's before I had time to run to the store and get some rubber protection. Alright, so all around this phone you have a small black bezel, and just on the bottom side of it you get a little thicker one. For a price of around 300 euros, you can expect not too much of the materials. This phone is all plastic, and I would suggest getting it in white since you barely see any fingerprints on it. The second option is the midnight blue version, but you definitely see all of your greasy fingerprints on it. It has a matte design, and you get the Motorola logo on the back as well. You get a pretty flat design, and the cameras on the back side, they don't stick out as much. They are kind of like mounted on a separate element on the backside, and it does look pretty gorgeous. The Moto G73 is also water repellent. That's barely enough to keep it safe from raindrops, but definitely don't try and take underwater pictures. So this phone comes with 256 gigs of internal storage and 8 gigs of RAM. But if we peek into the storage settings, we see that about 70 gigs are already used up by the system and other pre-installed applications. But overall, not too bad. Plus, you can just add an extra micro SD card and bump the storage up to 1 terabyte, which should be plenty of room for you guys. Now, talking about the display and the audio. Now, this phone comes with a 120Hz display, but if you want to save a little bit of your battery life, you can trim that down to 60Hz if you want to, or just leave it on the auto mode. The G73 has a 6.5-inch LCD display, not an AMOLED display, which is kind of unfortunate since colors do look a lot better on that one and you get a better contrast, but right here we still have a full HD plus resolution. The colors do look pretty good, and just the blacks and whites are not that strong in pictures, but you will definitely have a great time watching movies on YouTube, Twitch, or playing games on the sucker, to which we will get in a second. Also, if you watch your movies using the whole screen, the little selfie camera doesn't really get in the way and you barely notice it after just a few seconds. So I guess you get a pretty decent phone for just 300 euros. Now, audio-wise, you have a stereo speaker setup, which also works very good in my opinion, and it does get quite loud, but just let me give you a quick example. Right here, you've got dozens to choose from. So on top you get all of your latest ones, and further down you get to a variety of analog watch faces. And if you jump into the Moto app and open up the play menu, you get access to the Dolby Atmos. Right here you can choose between a few presets that you can use, or just play around and create your own one if you're into that stuff. So as I mentioned in the intro, we get the MediaTek Dimensity 930 chipset that no other smartphone has right now. And in my experience with it so far, it's actually very good. It's definitely not slow. I mean, it does take a second if you swipe left and right in your camera settings, but that's not too bad if you ask me. And I never experienced anything like lags or stuttering when I open up apps or new tabs in general. Also, when it comes to gaming, we have few different options. So checking out once again the play menu in your Moto app, you have the Moto game mode that can boost your gaming experience by quite a bit. So you can put it in a high or a standard performance mode, or put it in a battery saving mode, obviously to save some of your battery life. You even have access to it while in the game and take quick screenshots, block calls, or even screen record your game. So I played my car racing game on the highest resolution possible, and the frame rate was stable and high, and there was no lagging at all, no stuttering, and even when I crashed into some other cars. So actually a decent gaming smartphone. So the Motorola G73 5G is running on Android 13 and even comes with a Motorola specific app, the Moto App. Right here you can customize your wallpapers, your fonts, colors, and the icon shape, and choose between a variety of different app layouts. 5x6, 5x5, 5x4, 2x2, and I hope you get what I mean. You get it a lot. There are also quite a few gesture features, like you can tap on the back of your phone to quickly launch apps, take screenshots, or other things. And that even works through your rubber case. You can twist your phone to open up the camera, shake your phone to turn on the flashlight, flip the phone over to enable the D&D mode, or swipe with your 3 fingers across the screen to take a screenshot. And there's a attentive display mode as well. That prevents the screen from dimming or going to sleep while you're looking at it. And of course you get a standard fingerprint sensor, which actually works great, and you get a face detection as well. And once again, that works good. It may take a second or two, but I guess that's a right for a budget smartphone. So like with the Moto G53, the Moto G73 has a big 5000 mAh battery that can easily last you a whole day, if not 2 days, depending on your usage. And unlike with the G53, you get 30 watts fast charging, which is not actually a lot and not super fast, but it's faster than the G53, so it only takes about an hour to go from 0 to 100%, and you don't have to charge it all night long. So now the camera test. As I already mentioned, you get a 50 megapixel main camera with no optic image stabilization and just PDAF. You have a 8 megapixel ultra wide lens, which you don't get on the G53, and you can record in 1080p with either 30 frames or 60 frames per second. On the front, we get a 16 megapixel camera that can record in 1080p with 30 frames per second, so no 4K resolution on this phone. So I tried taking some good looking pictures for you guys and a couple of videos, and I think they came out pretty good. I'm recording now with the selfie camera. This one is only a 1080p with 30 frames per second, but I think it actually still looks pretty decent. Now, as you can see, right behind me is the sun, so you can't really see anything. So if I'm turning around, I have the sun on my face, and it's actually not that bad. And guys, that's the Moto G73 5G smartphone. Now, I've also, of course, covered the Motorola G53 in another video, so just click this video right here to get right to it. And I guess with that being said, I will see you in the next one. Peace.